Space. I am Kim Kral. I am reporting to you, not live, from my closet. Hi, guys. Hi. I just burped a little. Sorry. Yuck. Remember when I used to have that show with that girl that belched all the time into the microphone? That horrified me. I talk about that a lot. I think about it a lot, too. It horrifies me. Not like, I understand that humans, have bodily things. That's like part of, that's like our main thing, being human, that, stuff comes out of us. But like the people that are just like so gross about it, I think about it a lot. And I get, do whatever you want to do. I don't know, but it horrified me when she did that. I think I tried to have like 3 talks with her too. That was just like, hey, I don't feel comfortable having a show where someone just belches into the microphone. So I just burped. Sorry, excuse me. I feel so much better than I did last week. I recorded last week's episode a couple days ago, and I'm getting this out early. I'm trying to get back on track with you Patreon supporters who get the early access. But it's so funny. I feel night and day different. Like when I recorded a couple days ago, I was really fucking down. I was just really down. And it just goes to show you like that I can't remember. I feel like John Mayer said it, and it's kind of embarrassing, but I feel like somebody else, probably cooler, said it than John Mayer. Maybe he just paraphrased it, but I'm going to paraphrase it now. Where it was like, oh God, I can't even remember. It was, it was just like, when you're happy, enjoy it because nothing lasts forever. And when you're sad, hold on because nothing lasts forever. And that's the thing. Like I've learned enough, and I'm so grateful for this. I've learned enough in this last few years of really working on myself that as long as I keep showing up for myself, even when I do have rough days and rough times, I will pull through it, and I will pull through it way quicker than I did before when I, didn't have my like spiritual practice, I guess, spiritual gym for the lack of a better word. I am still, I'm worried about Henry. He is throwing up still, and he was throwing up like a month ago, and I took him to the vet, and this is the thing. I would take him to the vet again, but they were like, nothing is wrong. Who knows? It's probably just his tummy's upset. Here's some tummy medication, and pay us $600. So it's like, I will pay thousands of dollars if we could find out what was the like cause of his puking, not just like, we don't know, here's a pill. And so it's been weighing on my mind. I'm doing some research, and a buddy of mine had a cat for a really long time who around Henry's age started getting sick too. And so he switched his cat to like a full, like non-grain wet food diet. And that really helped. And that cat lived a long time. So I'm looking into that. If you have a cat and you have information about what I am worried about, please email me at kimcrawlspace@gmail.com. I would really appreciate it. It's just really weighing on me, and I know, and it's like making me be really weird around him. Like I'm saying goodbye to him, and I'm like, I gotta calm down. Like he's got a tummy ache. I don't love the puking. I also don't love the puking because it is. He is moving around my apartment. He used to just puke like in the hallway next to his litter box, and now he seems to want to puke everywhere. So I got some carpet cleaner. It's been a ride. But I am worried, and this cat's my best friend, guys. This cat is my motherfucking best friend. But yeah, I just realized like the more as long as I keep showing up for myself, even on tough days, like they just seem to get better. And they always do, I am doing more healing, and I am, like I talked about a couple of weeks ago, I'm peeling another layer of the onion off, where I'm looking into more of, I have a lot of trauma, and there's a lot of grief with healing trauma. And, I hope it's not that I hope I'm never done, but I hope I'm never done growing, and growth is hard. It's really hard. And that's, and so some days are going to be a little tougher than others, but I keep showing up, and, in the next, and it's so funny because someone had told me a long time ago, actually this woman told this other woman, and both these women really don't like me very much. But before the one woman decided she didn't like me very much, it's fine. I don't like these women either, so it's fine. But she said that the one woman told her something that like now I hold on to, that like, that's such a weird roundabout. I'll just tell you what she said. It's just really funny that one of like the things that I hold on to is this words from this broad who really hates me and used to have, I was told like meetings about it. Like there was like 3 female comedians, I'm using air quotes, comedians, where they would like sit down and talk about how much they hated me. And then some girl told me about it and I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, does that upset you? And I was like, no, literally the only time I've said that woman's name is literally right now. So I don't care. But that woman blocks and unblocks me on Facebook like 7 times a year. And the only reason why I know she does this is because I love Time Hop. I love Time Hop so much. I love Time Hop because I love seeing old photos. I love Time Hop because I used to quote Katy Perry and Marilyn Monroe like 10 years ago a lot. I love Time Hop because I wrote some funny shit on there that I now retweet because I have, more of a following, but like, and I'm a better writer. So I love Time Hop. Anyway, so I'll look at Time Hop every day. And this woman and I were in each other's lives for a long time. It was back in my Mouthy Pants days. She used to come to that mic. And so she would tag us in all these photos. And like every other time I see a post that we are tagged in together, I can't click on her name, which means she blocked me. But she does it like 7 times a year and then she'll unblock me. I haven't seen this bitch in like 8 years. It's just really funny. It's just really, really... it's just like, I was talking about living rent free. Who lives rent free in my head, and I forget that there's probably people I live rent free in their head too. And the reason why this woman doesn't like me is completely made up and bizarre and wild and a misunderstanding. And instead of her coming to me and being like, "Hey, you said this thing to me that upset me," I was upset. And then I would go, "Oh my God, I didn't mean to upset you." And then we'd talk about it like adults. Instead, she told literally anyone who had listened for like 3 years that she hated me and I was a dumb bitch. But advice that she gave this other broad that is in that camp too, stays with me. So, it's so funny that the universe speaks to you in wild ways sometimes. But she said, enjoy it when you're not busy. Because there's going to be a time that you really, really are. And that is really the life I have chosen is like that. I will have 2 weeks off where I don't have anything at all. And then these next 6 days, next 4 days, 3 days, I have 6 jobs clammed into 4 days. And that's just, and so it's like team no sleep for the next 4 days. But then after that, I'll be done until the end of May. So so I think, because what I'll do is I'll panic in those weeks that I don't have any work or work is sparse. And then I think of that woman who blocks me all the time, that like she said, enjoy it. Cause it's not going to last, it's just a lot of new stuff, man. And I'm doing this loving parent. So a big part of my program, my ACA, Adult Children of Alcoholics and Dysfunction, if you're new to the show, is about becoming, since I didn't have parents, essentially, it's about becoming filling those needs myself, becoming my own loving parent. And I did the 12 steps and I went through the fourth step, fourth step is basically writing down everything bad that you've ever done or that was ever done to you, every little bad thing that's ever happened in your life. And then step 5 is telling another person. And I've talked about it before in earlier episodes that doing that, I told 2 people who were my sponsors, 2 separate occasions, 2 people stuff that I thought that I was going to have to carry alone for the rest of my life, that I wasn't going to have to just take to my grave. And it was heavy, and man, telling that shit, which I'm not ready to tell on here on a public forum. It is, and imagine what I have if I had that shit I tell you guys already. But it was so heavy, and I thought it made me so broken, and it didn't. And I told someone, and it lifted. And now I'm doing this loving parent workbook with this lovely fellow traveler. And that's what we call our peers in the program. And it is bringing up a lot of stuff. I went to a movie yesterday for the first time in 2 years, over 2 years. I can't remember the last time I went to a movie, but it was way before the world ended. Like I used to take myself to a movie like once or twice a month. I love going to a movie alone. I don't know if I have told you guys this, but that is like one of my favorite, like I need to get out of my head or I'm having a bad time. I go see a movie by myself. I don't really understand. I have talked about this before and I think it's probably weird. I don't know, but I don't understand why people go, like, I don't think it's a group activity. I mean, I guess sure, like getting dinner or something after or before, I feel like might be. I don't know. I like going to a movie all by myself in the middle of a Tuesday, and sitting there. I usually get red vines, not red wine. I don't understand people who can drink in a movie. I have the bladder the size of a peanut, and the only movie I was drunk in, my buddy Roger and I went and saw It. I don't know, when did the first It, not the sequel. I never saw the sequel because Roger moved away. And if you're listening, Roger, remember when we were supposed to watch that together and then you saw it with some girl? I feel like it was with some girl, but that may be a lie. But I know you saw it without me. And now in protest / it looks really scary and I don't want to watch it alone. I have not seen the second one. But Roger and I went to go see the first It in movie theaters. And this was like... this was like 5 years ago or something. Like alcohol just became like a new thing in theaters. Like that hasn't always been a thing except for like special theaters. But I don't know. Or I was just with Roger and we were like, we should drink. So he went and got the drinks and he comes back and I was like, oh, I'll have a wine. And he's like, perfect. And he's like, and he comes back and he has a tray and he has 4 drinks and he got himself 2 beers and me 2 wines. The problem with the wine is they put it in the same cup as the beer with the same amount of wine as they did the beer. So I drank like a bottle of wine I know you guys are like, we didn't have to drink the whole thing. I did. It was a long movie, but the movie was long and I had to pee. So I don't understand. I remember it, but I was drunk. So it's not like I was able to be like, yeah, I don't know. I just don't understand people who I drink minimal amount of water because I don't want to have to pee in the middle of the movie. So I saw Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Dude. See that fucking movie like that. Like I have to see it again. Like this movie was, I just burped again. So sorry. That movie was like life-changing good. I also love, and I don't read about how people feel about movies. Mostly because honestly, I don't read about this stuff. I never really have because I don't really care what people think about a movie. Like I'm going to see what I want to see, regardless if like some, nerd that I worked with for a couple of years, 10 years ago, likes it or not. You know what I mean? Like if I want to see a movie, I'm going to see a movie. People not hate, but people don't really like the Purge movies. They're like a cult favorite. They're not like mainstream favorite. And lots of people hate those, but I own all of them, including the television series. And I am so sad that they didn't renew that. I think it's bullshit. That's another story for another day. But I never read what people think about movies. So I don't know if people are talking about this at all, but I love that there is a movie out that is really popular. And I don't know if it's that popular, but a few people have told me to see it. But again, I feel so, in terms of like movies, I feel really disconnected to the rest of the country because LA is just such a different, and I'm sure New York is the same. Like it's just such a different, like everywhere, everything, everywhere, all at once is a really popular movie in LA. But then like, so was a movie called A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints. Oh my God, go see that or go rent it. It's so good. It's what is his name? I almost said Cuba Gooding Jr. That's not true. Different Jr. Robert Downey Jr. Shia LaBeouf is in it too. Channing Tatum before he became like famous when he did some like teen movie. Yeah, I know he did a teen movie that I do know. It's She's the Man with Amanda Bynes. I own that. I also love really bad teen drama comedies. I love them. I love them so much. I love them so much. I own so many of them. It's my secret thing. It's not secret. I don't secret out. What am I saying? But so I don't know how many, Guide to Recognizing Your Saints. Go see it. It's so good. Robert Downey Jr. It's so good. Rosario Dawson. I don't know her last name. She's great, but it's so good. Go see it. But that was pretty popular in Los Angeles. And then I went home to Denver and people were like, what the fuck are you talking about? So I don't know if this movie's as mainstream as I think it is, but I love that there is a movie that is, I'm just going to, for argument's sake, say it's mainstream, that isn't just all white people and one token non-white person. You know what I mean? Like that, I just love the fucking shift. And it's so funny because there's, you guys know when I say it's so funny, it's not actually funny. You understand when that I'm not actually meaning it's so funny, but whatever. There's two types of performers now. I've seen actors, comedians. I've seen both. I've talked to all sides of the performing coin. White people, and there's two types right now that are it's great. It's great that it's finally inclusive, and we're starting to open casting. And maybe there's a little less castings for me, a white person, but it's making better quality art, right? Because more people can relate. I can't imagine. Have you ever seen that? There's oh my God. Okay, something just blew in my kitchen and it made a shadow, or someone's in my apartment. I'm not live, so I guess if I get murdered, no one is gonna, you'll know because they'll find it on my computer, this recording, and maybe they'll use it as evidence. Just keep my cat okay. That's all I care about. I care about myself, obviously, too, but I'll be dead. So, what was I talking about before I got distracted by it's coming from inside the house. There is really something in there. Is that Lucy? Oh, there's a tree that's outside my window that moves around a bunch and it makes a weird shadow. I get scared by that tree 12 times a week. 12 times minimum, where I'm like, what is that? And then it's just a big palm tree. Okay. But so there's two types of white performers right now, in my experience, where it's they're comedians, actors, singer, whatever, where they're yeah, it's good. It's good that it's making better all around art. Oh yeah, the picture. There was an artist that photoshopped pictures of what it would look like if it was reversed, and there was a little white girl standing in front of a bunch of dolls, and they were all black, all black dolls. I gotta sneeze. All black dolls, and that is. But that's the reverse, right? There's one black Barbie and 40 white Barbies. But so there's two types of performers. I don't know if this is. I always get nervous talking about this. I don't know why. Because you post anything nowadays, and I have something to say about that in a little bit because I have a point to make. But I love the inclusivity, right? And love that it makes better art when there's people of every background in a movie instead of 12 white people and one token black dude. You know what I mean? It makes it better. But then I've talked to a lot of actors and comedians who are not okay with it, who are upset. Most of the male comedians are the ones, the male white comedians. I've heard women on all the other stuff, but male white comedians have come to me and been it's not fair. And it's well, you were mediocre at best before, and now you actually have to try. You're not just getting rewarded for being a white dude now. Now you got to actually work for your shit. And I had a friend, using that word very loosely, a couple months ago tell me that it was unfair because he's in his 40s and he's a white straight guy, and it's unfair because this is the first time in history that it's not super easy for him. And I was you know what, though, before the shift happened, you were in your 20s and you were pretty mediocre then too. So I don't think you could blame it on our world is opening up and becoming more inclusive. Anyway, go see the movie. I just love that I love that a big movie is not just all white humans. It's just really cool. Plus the movie is So good, like life-changing good. I sobbed, I laughed. Drove home. It took me a half hour to drive home because of the traffic. I drove home in complete silence because I was just thinking so much. It was just such a good movie. It was one of those movies that you were just like, holy shit, I got to buy that and watch it once a year. Oh, yeah, speaking of, I got some of the best news I've gotten in a long time the other day. They've officially announced it. There's going to be an Equalizer 3. An Equalizer 3. I don't know if you guys know how I feel about the Equalizer, but I own 1 and 2. I saw both in the theaters twice, and I watch them probably both together every 6 months. In COVID, I watched them a little bit more. I love those movies. And the other day I was driving and they were like, yeah, Denzel Washington confirmed that he will be making an Equalizer 3, which is, fun fact, he has never made a sequel before, The Equalizer, and now he's going to make a third one. I'm so excited. So my point with and I was like, I'm nervous about talking about this stuff sometimes because it's not always the most comfortable subject, I suppose. I don't know. But I think it's important to talk about that stuff and educate ourselves, which brings me to my other point. And I've said it a million times. I've said it on, I think when Jeff May and I got in an argument I can't remember, we get an argument every episode. If you want to hear them, go join Patreon. We have a monthly podcast where we talk about our months, but usually we just find one subject and then kind of fight about it for an hour, and then we make up, and then it's fine. But my point with that was we were talking about ignorance and people who spout off hate, but I'm not talking about hateful people. I'm talking about ignorant people that grew up very sheltered, very ignorant, and don't know, like me before I went to fucking college. And I've talked about it a million times. Like when I went to college, I was raised that abortion was murder, being gay was wrong, and nobody from other countries should be able to come here unless they're white, right? That's not how he exactly said it, but I said illegal alien way more than anyone ever should, right? And I went to college and I was talking that way. And thank God I met the 3 women I've talked about many times on here who came to me, and they basically were like, separately, they didn't know each other separately. I think 2 of them did. I mean, they eventually knew. It doesn't matter. Separately, and was just like, hey, your opinions and views on life don't match who you are. Like, they're kind of hateful and you're not, right? Because I was ignorant. I was raised by someone who believed these things. And I got to sneeze again. Fuck. Oh, excuse me. I was going to take it out, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Too lazy to do it. But it's like I was raised with these ignorant thoughts, and these women, instead of calling me an ignorant hillbilly, they were like, oh, hey, can we educate you and maybe tell you some things? And I'm so grateful to them. And Jeff in the episode, he was like, well, when does it stop? Like a very black and white, when does it stop? Like, am I just supposed to allow rape? And it's like, no, but sometimes people are just ignorant. And if you come at them calling them names, they are going to go run in the other direction and double down on their hatred, right? But if you're like, hey, I kind of think you don't know what you're talking about. Case in point, I know very admittedly and shamefully even very little about Israel, Palestine, very little. And I've sort of stayed out of it because I know it's a very complicated, years-long war. I know it's, it's very complicated. It's very sad, and it's very heated. And I don't know a lot about it. So I've kind of stayed out of it. And there was a reporter that was murdered, I don't know, a week ago. And she had, and people were posting about her. And I believe, again, I'm not going to say, because I'm so ignorant on the subject, and I have vowed to learn about it now. And I'll tell you how I got there. So the reporter that was murdered had posted, had a quote that someone posted, and I liked the quote. And it was sad to me that this woman who was just trying to bring truth to the world was murdered. And that was what her quote was basically just like, I love journalism because I get to, bring light to subjects, whatever. It was a really beautiful quote. I don't remember what it was off the top of my head, but I posted it, right? I got 2 responses, one from a friend who is Jewish and one from a friend who is not. The non-Jewish friend messaged me and said, wow, be careful. People are going to start thinking you're anti-Semitic. And that boiled my fucking blood, right? Like I muted him. I was like, I don't even want to talk to you if you're going to cut, like, what the fuck? And then I waited like an hour and then I was like, dude, don't come at me with like calling me names. I'm not anti-Semitic. There's no reason to talk to somebody that way. I was furious, right? And I basically was like, fuck you. And then my Jewish friend at the same time had written me, but I missed his message until after I'd gotten really angry. And he was like, hey, I know it's a really complicated subject, and I know that you are not putting this out there because you're anti-Semitic or hateful or anything like that, but this is a really important subject to my heart, and seeing you post this made me feel X, Y, and Z. He's like, I love you a lot. If you have questions, I'm pretty versed on the subject. I would love to talk to you. I just wanted you to know that putting that out there it will hurt some people. And guess who? I took it down immediately. I wrote him back, and I was like, admittedly, I'm very ignorant on this subject, and it's my job as a human in the world to learn about these things. And I was like, if you have any resources, I'd be grateful for it. Or I just know there's, again, going back to the beginning, the internet is a place that anyone can post anything. So just like reputable resources or any documentaries you'd recommend, I'd love to learn more about it, because admittedly, I know very little about it. I just know it's very complicated, and it's sad, and it's a heated subject everywhere all the time. And that, I don't know, I stand by that, man. The fact that like, you come at someone and call them a racist and like, calling them names or like, you murderer. Like, it's like, I am not going to listen to you. I am not going to be like, that guy is reasonable and he probably, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not talking like that was the big argument too, on the Fine We Have a Podcast. Jeff was like, well, how long do I let my racist cousin yell hatred? And I was like, there's a difference. Like, obviously, if your cousin's a Nazi with a swastika who's doubling down, it's like, well, obviously you beat up that guy. I mean, I don't condone violence, but I kind of do when it comes to Nazis. You know what I mean? But like when it's, I keep raising my arms and I'm trying to wax my armpits today. And so if you're watching on YouTube, I'm not really sorry. I don't care very much. I just realized how gross it might be. But like someone who like, so my best friend, one of my best friends in life, his wife, June 2020, posted on Facebook or Instagram or one of the social medias. And this is when George Floyd and, everyone was protesting. And she was like, I used to say all lives matter. And then after this, it has made me realize I'm wrong. And it's made me crack a book and read up about why this movement is happening, what's going on. And I'm here to say I am wrong. Black Lives Matter. I am so sorry. Thank you for your patience. And I don't know who talked to her or what happened, but I promise you someone running at her, calling her fucking racist wasn't what made her go, I should read a book. I stand by that. And like, if you want to change the world, yelling hatred at each other is not going to do it. And I'm not talking about the extremes, obviously. I don't even know how I got into this subject. I've been really, for someone who told you I'm feeling pretty good, I got a little soapboxy. I am feeling really good. I am. I have an interview with a new job on Thursday. I had a phone interview today. And the new job is, so when you hear this, it'll be tomorrow. The new job is, it's basically like a hiking guide, I think, at like a winery. So And the people, I had a friend who worked there, and then I have another friend who recommended me. And from my knowledge, it is like bartending money, but you work during the day, you get to be outside, and you only deal with maybe one bullshit customer once every like 40 customers, not like once every 4 minutes, like bartending. So I am going to give that a try. I think it'll be fun. Plus, I'll get to be hiking all day. So we'll see. I'm looking for just, like I'm doing the hustle thing. And it's really, oh man, it's so scary. It is so scary not to be. It's so scary, but it's so awesome. Like not to be. Like before the world ended, I worked at a bar. Which coincidentally, I'm actually filling in for some people this weekend, which is funny. But the nightclub, and it was fine. It was probably it was probably the best bartending job I've ever had. Super easy, super fun, good money, only a couple of days a week. It was great, right? Really flexible. But I was chained to that job. Like I would say no to certain things because I couldn't miss out on the money I would make that weekend. That was basically it. I would turn down all kinds of things. And so I was just dependent on one income or one stream of income, right? And so it was just like they owned me. And now I don't have that. And it's really scary and it's really new. But I'm making it work. And every week when I'm like, oh God, I don't have any work next week at all, then I get 2 emails that are like, hey, are you available these days and these days? And it's just sort of working out. And I never in a million years would have thought to go to Thailand if I was chained to this one job, right? Because that would be all of my money. And now it's like, oh, well, I have all these other, but it's scary. It's fucking scary, but I'm doing it. And it's very exciting. I was going to say it's a wild ride, which made me remember I wanted to tell you guys about this thing. Have you guys, if you've ever been to Disneyland in Fantasyland, which is like where like Peter Pan and the Dumbo ride is, right? Like the kid world. There is a ride called Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. And everyone I've talked to, we Googled it, and it's like a character from Ichabod Crane, which was now looking back on how dark and fucked up that movie was, like where it was like the outsider guy, and then he got murdered, I think, by the town drunks, and then he came back as the headless horseman and terrorized everyone. I haven't seen it in like 30 years, but in my memory, I think so. But I think Mr. Toad's Wild Ride is a sub of that. Anyway, it is the weirdest, most fucked up ride ever. And my favorite thing in the world is to watch people come out of it. Cause like it'll be a parent and a kid will walk out and he's so happy and he has no idea what the fuck he just watched. And the parent walks out like with the most confused, traumatized look on their face. Every single one of them. Next time you're at Disneyland, stand outside of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. I wrote this down like a month ago when I went to Disneyland because I had to tell someone. So we were in Fantasyland, right? And we were like, oh, what do we want to ride? And the 2 dudes that my buddy Mike and I were with had never ridden Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. And I was like, dude, it's a wild ride. We gotta fucking ride it. And they were like, okay. So we get in there. And one of the guys, Keith, who I've known forever, right? I have such a crush on him, but he has like a girlfriend of like 10 years, but he loves Buffy, I think, as much as I do. I think it's a tie. I don't know. He also gave me a thing that like, if you're a Buffy fan, this day, he was like, this is a sidebar. He was like, reframe Buffy as it's actually a show about Willow. I want to let that sink in. Like she's the one who has the major character arc, like the climax at the end of season 6 when she almost ends the world. And then at the end 7, I mean, spoiler alert, it came out like 25 years ago, literally. At the end of season 7, she saves the world and has white hair instead of the black hair that she had when she was going to ruin the world. Like and then like it's light instead of, like the yin yang or whatever. But that blew my motherfucking mind. Anyway, so this guy Keith, and it's like a schoolgirl crush. It's nothing I'm going to pursue. Obviously, I am not interested in unavailable humans any longer. we get on the ride and he's laughing and he's having so much fun. So basically you like go through, it's like a slow ride. Like it's for like babies, right? So you're in the thing and it's going through this thing and you're like in the forest and then you're at the pub and then you're this. And then all of a sudden you get too drunk and you get in a car accident and you kill a dude. And Keith's face changed when that happened, but you could tell he was kind of kidding. Like, oh my God, so scary, right? And then the judge sentences you to death, and then you go to hell, and then you go into a new room where Satan is standing there, and it's like they make the room hotter, and there's fire everywhere. It's a children's ride. I think about this once a week, and then that's when Keith's face just turned from like joking shock to like legit, what the fuck? And I was like, oh my God, right? And then we left, and he was like, and everyone is like, I don't know what Disney movie that's from. Like, what is that? What are we supposed to? Oh my God. If you ever go to Disneyland, I know that there's a lot of things that you should ride and the lines are really long. But that Mr. Toad's Wild Ride is a fucking wild ride, man. Yeah, what? Oh yeah, I went into a whole soapboxy thing. Sorry about that. Not really sorry. I stand by all of my words. So in my work that I am doing, my ACA work, I am peeling a new layer of the onion off, right? Which is making me dive into who I was as a child. And I've always, I like in ACA, I've learned or like have discovered, I guess. And I guess on some level I always knew I was a really brave child. I was resilient as fuck. I went through some really awful, heinous shit. And I did it with like such a bright light. I was such a like happy, bright light. There was a definite sadness. If you see a lot of the pictures of me as a kid, there's like a sadness behind my eyes, obviously, because but that's like the first layer of the onion was that, just like being like, God, that kid was so brave and so resilient and so kind and weird, man. I was so weird and I just didn't give a fuck. And I lost that for a long time. I lost it. Now I just let my freak flag fly. But for a while I was trying to hold it under, and I don't think you'll meet a single human that's like, that girl is totally like everybody else. I know that. But like for a long time I tried to like stuff it down. Right. But that little girl, I was weird, man. I remember someone third grade. Was it third grade? It was third grade. It was third grade. Yeah. Because I got that haircut. So I wanted everyone in school to think I was an alien. I went through a period where I was really afraid I was adopted for some reason. I feel like that would be somewhat of a blessing now as an adult. Why wouldn't you be excited you didn't belong to those two? But I was really freaked out I was adopted all the time, right? So I was really obsessed with being adopted. And one time I even asked my mom really seriously, like I finally like broke down. I was like, Mom, was I adopted? And she got really serious and she leaned down on my level and looked at me and went, "No, honey, we hatched you in the basement." And then I just started crying. I knew it. And she was like, I think she thought I would laugh. And instead I just cried and cried. And then she's like, I'm just kidding. You were my baby, whatever. Right. But then I went through a period where I wanted to be an alien. I was convinced I was an alien. And I wanted everyone to think I was one. So I went to school and I told everyone I was an alien. No one believed I was an alien. So then I made a little pet out of paper clips and erasers. I don't know why that would make me look like an alien, but I was like, this is my pet. His name is Thing. He's my alien pet. People were like, no, we still think that you're a human. So then I went and got all my hair cut off and burned it. I think I've told you guys about this because I keep telling you I'll post the photo, but I can't find one. I'll look for it. I don't know. I keep forgetting. I'm looking at the box it probably is in, but I cut all of my hair off. I mean, like all of it off. And I remember the day, what was that woman's name? Her name was Mary. My grandma used to get her hair done at Jocelyn's. Jocelyn's is like May DNF. Or if you have no idea what I'm talking about, it's like a department store. It's like a Macy's, but in like the middle of the country, right? So we would go to Jocelyn's and my grandma would get her hair done all the time. Like kind of older ladies do that, right? And Mary cut my hair and did my hair, and I got a ton of perms back in the day. It was the 90s. And so I had, this long, beautiful hair, and I didn't have many friends. So this haircut did not do me a lot of favors, but I didn't care. I wanted people to think I was an alien. And so Mary cut my hair off, and, like a boy. And that was, in the 90s, of course, that's how you look like a boy, gender norms and shit. And so I remember when my dad picked me up that day, because I just walked out in the hallway with we didn't get the perm. We decided to do the perm the next time. So I just had the short hair. I found one picture with me with just the short hair. So I come out, my dad's like, "What the fuck did you do to your head?" And I was like, "Cut it all off, Dad. And next week we're going to perm it." So once we permed it, so it was like a big afro, like big, not an afro, but like a big puff of hair, right? Because we permed it to where it was just like a clown head. And it was short. And I went to school and I was like, "I'm an alien." No one believed me then either. And then I came up with a language. It wasn't a real language. It was just that thing you do, that noise you make with your tongue. I don't know if anybody can you hear that? I don't know if you can. Where you like put air underneath your tongue and you pull it up and it kind of sounds like a whoop. I did that a bunch. People were like, "Oh my God." And I don't know, I guess third graders, I was the only third grader who had figured out how to make that fucking noise. And so I told everyone that was my language, and people were like, "Oh my God, she is an alien." And I was like, "Damn right I am." And for a long time, my nickname was, "Ew, it's Kimmy Kral." I remember I got into this kid's van, his parents' van, obviously not his van, and they were going to drive me home. His name was Aaron something, Aaron Hepler. No, that can't be his name. I don't remember. But I get in the car and I was like, "Hi," and I had such a crush on him. I had a crush on every little boy back then. And he just turned around and went, "Ew, it's Kimmy Kral." So that was kind of my nickname. But then the alien thing came about. So for all of third grade, everyone thought I was an alien. And then in fourth grade, I decided I didn't want to be an alien anymore. So I came clean. And I was like, "I'm not an alien anymore, guys." And everybody but one girl let it go. This girl, Erica, from fourth grade to our senior year of high school, every time she walked by me, she pointed and yelled, "Ah, she's an alien." And she was a big Buffy fan. And now as an adult, like her social stuff was not that of an adjusted kid. I wonder what happened to her. Recently, one of my listeners, you know who you are, you told me to look up on LinkedIn, and that is where you are finding people. And thank you for that tip. I don't think I responded to you, but I will. I'm sorry, guys. If you email me or DM me, know that you were on my list. My mountain long list, which these aren't real problems. I know I am busy and have a lot going on. That's awesome. That's fucking awesome. Right. But so I had that haircut and I got that perm, and it was very confusing for both of my parents. But man, now, maybe I did it to get attention, like the right kind of attention. Those two people, the only time Tom could be bothered with me was when he was, being creepy or judgmental. But there was one time, so we had this daddy-daughter dance, and I wrote this down because I was so ashamed of this. And so in fifth grade, I was trying to be a little bit cooler. I asked everyone to call me Kimberly. I was like, "My name is Kimberly." So for a year I went by Kimberly. And that year was tough because I formed a group of girls. And there was the sixth graders, and there was a group of girls in sixth grade who were the popularest girls in school. And it was like a group of 10 girls who would just stand on the blacktop while they talked at recess and didn't do anything. And they all wore a lot of makeup and hairspray and all that stuff, right? The one girl, her name was Nicole Monaco. And man, I was obsessed with her. I was obsessed with Nicole Monaco. I wanted to be just like her. I wish my name was Nicole. It was the whole thing, right? So we formed our own group, but there was another group in fifth grade that was much more more popular than we were, right? But I was friends with most of that group, but I just wasn't a part of their group. So I started my own group, and I remember so we always did this. I think I told you guys about this. I don't know, and I don't know. Again, I'm working through my childhood again, so it's new shit's coming up, which is just all so wild and funny. So we did this talent show every year, right? We did this talent show every year. And my friend Stephanie and I, we'd come up with something and we usually had our friend Roxanne do it with us. And that year, fifth grade, I think was 5th grade the year that we painted our faces white, put on Garfield t-shirts that said, "Give me more coffee and no one gets hurt," and then danced around the stage to Al Yankovic's Ale Ale Taco. And basically by dance, we just walked from one end of the stage to the other. And when he said taco, we got really close together and said taco. And then we'd walk to the other side, and then we would like put our arms up like we were birds and went grande. And we did that for like 4 solid minutes while wearing these ridiculous t-shirts. And I think we were trying to be mimes. I don't remember, our clowns. I have no idea why we painted our face white, but we did. And in the next year, so that was the year we weren't that popular, but then the 5th grade when we were popular, I choreographed a dance to All for One, no, Color Me Bad's All for One. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know the word. Dun, dun, dun. I think it's all Color Me Bad, whatever. It's not that I want to sex you up, although we did do a song and dance to that at a slumber party for my dad, which now has layers of creepy to it, right? But we get done at the talent show and we walk it back, and Stephanie and I never really cared much about being popular. This was when we were in 6th grade, because we at this point became the 2nd most popular group in the school. And Roxanne comes running up and she's like, "I cannot believe what a disaster that was." And Stephanie and I are like, I mean, Stephanie and I were, peeing our pants, playing dolls. We were shocked anyone wanted to be our friends. So the fact that we were even a little popular was wild to the both of us. I imagine, I don't know. This is my friend that blocked me on everything that I did a whole episode for like 2 years ago called Naked Checkers. And it's about like friendship and that. It's one of my favorite episodes if you want to check it out if you haven't listened to it yet. But it's like episode 13 or something. But so she's like, "That was a disaster." And Stephanie and I are like, "Oh." And she's like, "We have a reputation and a responsibility as the 2nd most popular group in school." And I think about that twice a week. I think about that all the time. Anyway, so in 5th grade, I developed this group, right? And with this girl, oh God, Tiara and she moved away later on, but we got a group of girls together and we all became friends. And then one day I hung out with the more popular girl group that hung out with Nicole Monaco's friends. That was a high time for Kral, for Kimberly, as I was calling myself then. And I came back after lunch because I didn't hang out with my group. And Tiara came up to me and was like, "We've decided to kick you out of the group. If you want to hang out with Nicole Monaco so bad, go hang out with Nicole Monaco." I was devastated. And, but then, and then Tiara moved away, and then we called her T. She moved away, and then, the group brought me back, and then we became the 2nd most popular group in school, which is, again, so funny because Stephanie and I were peeing our pants from laughing too hard all the time. And all the other girls were like, it's too much to get into. But, so in 5th grade, what made me think of what brought me into all of these stories, I don't know if this is interesting at all. I do this, I should clock it every time when it's like 47 minutes in is when I go, "Is this interesting? Is anyone going to listen to this? Am I crazy?" We had a daddy-daughter dance. Daddy-daughter, yuck. I hate the word daddy so much. We had a dad-daughter dance, and it was a cowboy line dancing theme, right? A line dancing theme. And so my dad bought me blue cowboy boots, and he was like, "You have to wear those to the dance, and you have to wear them to school." And I was like, "Oh, they're so embarrassing, and I hate them." The girl who's playing dolls and peeing her pants daily. The boots were just too much for my reputation, but I was like, I hate them, and I don't want to. And he was like, "You have to." And he made me, and he was like, "We have to break them in for the dance." And there's this guy, Tom Picorni, that I had such a crush on. And he used to sit behind me in 5th grade. And I think we're friends on Facebook. We ended up going to college together, which is so funny. But he was really popular, and he was behind me. He sat behind me in 5th grade, and I had such a crush on him. And he had no interest in me, right? In fact, one day he was like, Kimberly, I think he called me, because that's what I went by in 5th grade. And I turned around, and this devastated me. This is probably where I became on the road to getting breast implants and obsessed with my boobs, right? Blame Tom Picorni. And I was in 5th grade. Who had boobs in 5th grade? Some people did, I know. But those people, they were like, "These are nightmares. I don't want them," right? Anyway, so I like turned around and I was like, yes, Tom, because I had such a crush on him. And he looks me dead in the eye. This is one of the most devastating moments of my childhood. And I was abused. This was devastating. He looked at me and he goes, roses are red, violets are black. Why is your chest as flat as your back? And I like I think my face just turned sheet white and my like heart dropped in my stomach and I just turned around. I was like, oh my God. I think if the plan is to get tits. I've talked about this before. I've not talked about it a bunch just because, they're expensive. It's major surgery. And also I'm going to Thailand and my cat is sick. So, whatever. Where there's a will, there's a way. I'm going to get them. Don't worry. But when I get them, I think I might just tag Tom Corney in it and be like, I think you're the reason I needed to get these all this time. Take that, 10-year-old Tom. I haven't talked to this guy in like 20 years. I think it'd be really confusing for him. But also the comedian in me and probably no one else would find it very, very funny. But one day when I had to wear those boots to school. So I was like, fine, Dad, I'll wear the boots. But then I snuck in shoes in my backpack. And I walked up and our 5th and 6th graders at my elementary school were in temporary buildings, temp buildings, like the outside buildings. I don't know if those still exist now. But so I was walking outside and we had to line up on the thing, and Tom Picorni was standing up. Can I say his full name? I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about him. He was like 10. I was standing at the top step, and as I walked up, he went, wow, nice boots, Kim. And I had a reaction like I did when that woman on the treadmill was like, why are you so sweaty? And I like blacked out and ended up in my car. I blacked out in my like, I was like, that is it. And I sat down and ripped the boots off and threw them in my backpack and put on tennis shoes. And I was like, I told my dad I didn't want to wear these. And it was all very dramatic. Ah, man, I haven't thought about elementary school in years. I did have this, and then I'll wrap up with the elementary school days. I don't know if this is interesting or not, but here we are. I did have this crush, and this is why I look back on little Kim, not the rapper, me as a child, as like such a brave little girl. Like I marched to the beat of my own drum. I know the blue cowboy, but to be fair, it's not like I wanted the blue cowboy boots. I didn't like them. I didn't want to wear them. I think if I liked them, I would have just worn them. I didn't care what I was just a weirdo, right? There was a kid in 6th grade. I should look him up too. Matt Brantner. That's such a high school movie name. I had such a crush on him. I asked him out every day in 6th grade, if not every day, 3 times a week, like a little boy, like a sad, every day I would go up and I would be like, Matt, will you be my boyfriend? And every day he would go, no. And I would go, all right. And I'd walk away. And then I'd ask him again. I mean, I don't know if those are the words I used, but I remember one time my friend Carly she went to him and she was like, I don't know, she asked him out for me or something like that. And he was like, God, that girl really likes me. And then Carly, I remember how I was like, solid move, Carly. Thank you. I still think about this. That's a solid friend to have. She and I still keep touch. And this little girl group that I had in 5th grade, I'm still friends with, I think, all of them on Facebook. Except for Stephanie, who blocked me. And God knows why. Who knows? What was I saying? Oh, yeah. Carly, God bless that little 5th, 6th grader soul. She looked at Matt and she goes, no, she's over you. She has a boyfriend at another school. He goes to Governor's Ranch. And Matt was like, what? And she goes, yeah, she doesn't like you anymore. And I was like, oh, that's what I should have done the whole time. I never did. We ended up going to junior high. I don't even know if he went to my same high school. I have no idea. But man, I'm going to look into that LinkedIn. Thank you. You know who you are. I appreciate that tip. I don't know if I have time. I don't have time to respond to people that I like and care about. And I'm going to spend time on LinkedIn trying to find some 6th grade crush to be like, hey, Matt Brantner, you should have said yes in 6th grade. Because I still think about it now. And it's been, I don't know. I don't actually think about it. I mean, obviously I do. But yeah, so that is what I've been up to, guys. I do feel a lot better. I am still doing the work. So I'm peeling this onion off. I am very angry and I am crying a lot. But I know that is a part of the growth and a part of grieving. And one thing I know for 100% certain in the grieving process. I'm so sweaty, by the way. It's so hot today. One thing I do know in the working through trauma process, you can't move past the grief and the anger in order to actually heal from it. I know more than I know most things. You have to walk straight through that shit. What's the saying? When you're going through hell, keep going. Otherwise you'll just be in hell. Like, fucking keep moving, you know? And so a lot of these weird memories are probably going to be coming up on Crawl Space. I hope they're fun and funny and not too like Jesus. And Tom Bicorni, if you're listening, thanks for inspiring me to get tits, man. I think I'm really going to love them. That's hopefully going to happen in August or September. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what I don't have to explain anything. Just kidding. I did also want to tell you. So I heard this thing on TikTok, and I've shared it on my Instagram. It is hands down one of the funniest things I have ever heard or seen in my life. I watched it over and over and laughed so hard I was sobbing, legit crying. So this guy reads this, it seems like Brad something, I don't know. He's like in a band and he has this beautiful voice and he just sits on his computer and just reads texts that creepy people send to other people. It's mainly men, but he's done women to women and women to men. But it is just really funny. Like, hey, I know your husband just died, but I was hoping that maybe you could send me a tick pic. And the girl's like, what? And it's alarming, but it's so funny. And then he has a little commentary after. He's one of my favorite people on TikTok. I don't remember what his name is, like Brad something, I don't know, but he posted a thing where these two tweets he read, and I'm going to paraphrase them, but it was like, anytime I think or I'm afraid to do something, or I don't think I'm able to do something, I think about the time that my then 3-year-old threw up a bunch of carrots after eating them and looked at me and said, I'm going to need more carrots. And the other one was like, I remember a time when I was in an Italian restaurant with my dad, and the waiter came over and he said, what's your name? And I said, my name is Sam, but you can call me Captain Ravioli. And then my dad looked at me and said, what was that? What the fuck was that? Don't do that. And then I've been chasing that high ever since. It's just so, I don't know. I'm going to need more carrots. It's just so fucking funny. Let's see here. I don't have a poop scoop. I ran out of poop scoops. I am frantically checking my email right now. I'm casually checking my email right now to see if any of you have sent me a poop scoop. Please send me a poop scoop. No one has. Send me a poop scoop, guys. It makes me so happy. I did write down, and I think I told you guys this about a while ago, but my buddy, like 2 years ago, like messaged me and was like shocked this has happened. So I thought I'd share it again because I know my podcast is kind of a bump around thing, or listen to, like, some people listen every episode, others listen, pick and choose, some, whatever. I just love that you're listening. I don't care how you listen. I just love that you're listening. But remember, so I had the boyfriend, Jimmy the Dragon. Okay, Henry's laying on his back, and that usually means he's sleeping really well and he's happy. It's funny, this cat sleeps all the time, right? All the time. And he doesn't do much. He's never been a playful cat. He's not really playful. The only time he does anything that's really like endurance is when he's like trying to piss me off. So I'll feed him more, right? Like he'll like walk into another room and he'll be like, what can I do to get her attention? I'm going to knock everything over. I'm going to climb up on this thing. He's just, but when he's not feeling well, I'm hyper aware of how lazy he is. But he's always been kind of lazy in the best way. He's super cuddly. Okay. So I had that boyfriend, Jimmy the Dragon, right? And I don't know. I feel like, there are people that do this, but I wonder if it's a drug thing. Because, he had the pretty bad cocaine problem. And so one time he ordered some food on Postmates, and he gave him my number to call a gate or whatever. And so they called my number, and he's in the bathroom, and I knew he was going poop. I knew that was happening, and I was going to let the people in, right? And so they call, and they had questions, right, about his food. So I walked over to the door, And I was like, babe, they have, they're asking this and this. And he's like, well, what about this? And they're going back and forth too much. And I was just like, I'm just going to give you the phone. And my finger had been in this dude's butt. So who cares if I see you on the toilet for a half a second? You know what I mean? Whatever. We're pretty intimate, man. So I opened the door expecting to just see him on the toilet, and he's like, get out. He's fully naked. He's taken all of his clothes off and has put them on the other side of the bathroom and is shitting naked. And I was like, why are you naked? And he goes, get out. And so I hand him the phone, and then he comes out and he's like, I don't want to talk about it. And I'm like, but why are you naked? And then later I found out that there are people out there who only naked poop. I've heard of people who will literally only poop at home. I've heard of people that cannot not shower after they poop. I worked with a girl years ago who was like, oh yeah, once I poop, I have to shower. And I'm like, well, you don't always have that luxury. And she's like, I have to shower. I don't care where I am, what I'm doing. I go straight home and I shower. I'm like, Jesus, I thought I had some weird poop problems. I'm grateful I have just the stuff I have. It sucks, but way better than a compulsion to have to shower immediately or needing to take all of my clothes off every time I pooped. But someone later pointed out that it's kind of a drug thing, that it was probably drugs because he had explosive poop and he didn't want to get any on his clothes. It's kind of sad, actually. I send him love. I hope that he has found his way. I do actually hope that. As I'm working through my shit, I am also working through forgiveness. And I forgave him a long time ago, but I've realized now that I had this love for him. And it's all funny and it's a fucked up story, but really we in our way, I think as much as two people who didn't love themselves, we cared about each other, So I am laughing about the naked pooping, which is just so funny because I think about that Postmates guy listening on the other end. Hi, Bood. Listening on the other end and me going, he's like, get out. And I'm like, why are you naked? Get out. I hope that guy got a big laugh out of it and that guy has been able to travel in his life and tell that story and get laughs because it's very funny. Let's see here. I am one lucky broad. God, I'm one lucky broad, dude. I'm so grateful. Even when I'm down and sad, it's just like I said last episode that alcohol is a depressant. And so I know that when I have a night out, I'm sad for a few days. Right. And I don't think I noticed it before because I was always out and always drunk and always, partying. And so my baseline was just sad. And now that my baseline's not sad and I have a night out and I'm like, oh, I'm really sad. And I'm one lucky broad that I don't have that life anymore. Yeah, sometimes I do go out and it's fine. And I try not to I try to get rid of my judgment about that. I know I'm fine. I know a lot of it is shame from growing up with alcoholics and fear and stuff that is left over from childhood. I can have a drink and I don't blow up my life, but it does affect me physically and mentally. And I'm one lucky broad that I have the awareness of that. And I have I've just been thinking about it a lot lately, especially since I said it last week episode when I was just God, I think I just always lived in this kind of sad, this cloud of sadness. And now that I don't, it hits you a little bit differently now when you do have it, if that makes sense. And that does sound like kind of a bummer of a lucky broad, but I don't feel like it is. I am one lucky broad and I have a lot of love in my life. And this cat, I don't know if you have any cat recommendations or what anything I can try. I'm switching the food. I'm doing some slow feeder stuff and he's drinking water. He's peeing. He's eating. He's still excited about eating. So, he's not eating as much though. Oh, fuck, I hate this so much. That's a weird way to end the episode, but more will be revealed, and I am a good cat mom, so don't worry, he's in good hands. I would walk to the end of the earth to make sure this cat was happy and living and comfortable. So it'll be fine. But if you have anything that you have like, oh, my cat used to do that, please email me. I would really appreciate it. That's the episode. You guys know all the drill. If you get a minute, please leave me a review, a rating. If it's a good one. If you're not going to leave a good one, just like skip it and move on, you know. That's how I feel like everyone should do. Whatever. That's too big of a subject to jump into an hour into the show. But yeah, if you want to join Patreon, you get early access to these episodes. You get 2 bonus episodes a month. One I do with comedian Jeff May. Fine. We have a podcast, and another one I talk about my sexual revolution and how last month I talked about losing my virginity. The month before I talked about becoming a bisexual woman, not becoming, but opening up about it. You know what I'm talking about. And who knows what's going to come out of my mouth in a few days because I haven't recorded it yet. But, by the time you get this, it'll already be out. But if you want to join that, I would really appreciate it. I would love the support. If not, I love that you're just listening. It means the world to me. I have a book. You know that, Confessions of a Recovering Party Girl. And I'm starting to tell jokes again. I'm going to be in Long Beach at the end of the month. And I'm going to be at Dave & Buster's in Hollywood on May 23rd. So I'm going to update my website this weekend. And so if you want to come see me live, that would be awesome. I think that's it, my friends. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. It means a lot to me. Be safe. Be kind. Bye.